At Comics and Comics, we have a segment where we like to give an opinion about something, and if you've ever read any fanboy post on any message board anywhere, you understand why we call this segment But Let's Face It. Collecting geeks are one of the most frequently attacked types of geeks, even by other types of geeks. If you look at a comic book fan who voraciously reads issues when they come out, picks up back issues in the 5 for $1 pile at conventions, and enthusiastically reads through those issues as well, versus the comic book collector who seeks out prestigious issues in the best condition he can find, pays whatever he can afford for them, puts them in acid-free Mylar sheets, gets them third-party graded, and never exposes them to light again, the former seems passionate, and the latter seems soulless. The implication is that the true collector enjoys crossing an item off a want list more than the item itself, and that type of prioritization is worthy of ridicule. To that, I would say, first of all, having a genuine love for a highly collectible item and simply wanting the prestige of having it are not mutually exclusive. Secondly, being into the thrill of the hunt isn't a bad thing. If you're going to slam collectors for tracking down their holy grails, fine. Just as long as you're willing to lump us in with Percival, or for that matter, Indiana Jones. And if you don't think I'm ready to weigh out a bag of sand and displace a 1946 stuffed Captain Marvel figure from its altar place, then you don't know me that well. Collectors go after things that are rare, and if we're being honest, do gain some joy in having items that others do not. But let's face it, this mentality has not only proved to be successful and wise, but continues to become more so with each day. In the last year, comic books with the first appearances of Batman, Superman, and even Spider-Man from over 20 years later all sold for over $1 million each. A page of original art from The Dark Knight sold for over $448,000. A copy of Hulk 181, a comic book from the 70s, sold for over $150,000. $15,000 sales for rare toys from the 1970s and 80s are becoming more and more common. Collectibles are part of the American dream, nay, the worldwide dream. The notion of finding a collectible diamond in the rough is exciting. The success of programs like Antiques Roadshow and Storage Wars attest to the growing fascination people have with collectible value. In the past 20 years, foolishly overpaying for vintage collectibles seems like genius now. The performance of high-end collectibles in this economy is nothing short of spectacular. This interest is underscored by the similar rise in collectible forgeries. Like Hans van Meegeren successfully passing off fake Vermeers to the Third Reich in World War II, forgerers are attempting to make fake collectibles and pawn them off to unsuspecting buyers. But the world is a different place now. Forgerers are caught more easily, collectible forensics is more advanced. Steve Martin's art purchases aside, fewer people are being fooled. Unlike 20 years ago, today, if you try and cut the cape off of an Obi-Wan action figure and try and use it to make a fake vinyl-caped Jawa, you'll be exposed faster than a Jawa trying to sell an R2 unit with a bad motivator. And as much as I hate to say it, third-party grading works. Having condition evaluated by a neutral party and then encasing the collectible in plastic might seem to wipe out the beauty of many collectibles, but it has created an impressively secure marketplace. Some may argue too secure. When a loose but graded Luke X-Wing action figure sells for more than a carded but ungraded figure, something may be wrong. But the overall increased security for purchases over the internet can't be ignored. Third-party grading has been tough but fair, and buyers continue to remain satisfied after purchases are made and auctions won. Perhaps it's time for third-party grading to be implemented by eHarmony and OkCupid. Even though lots of people are trying to get in on the collectible racket, it's not as easy as it seems. First off, not everything is a true collectible, even if you collect it. There's a crucial difference between Antiques Roadshow and hoarders, and that can't be stressed enough. If you've got a picture of yourself online standing in front of a toy collection filled with new X-Men figures, reissued Micronauts, and common McFarlane toys, get the smirk off your face, because you can no longer expect us to be impressed. But if in the back you've got an original boxed Mecha Machine Geek by Bullmark, expect a personal message from me asking if you want to sell it, me hoping you don't know how valuable it is, you investigating its history, and telling me to either get lost or pay a fortune for it. J.P. Morgan was not an incredibly refined or educated art collector. Neither was J. Paul Getty. Their personal tastes are suspect, but they were both smart enough to invest in art and hire people who knew more than they did. One thing Morgan insisted on was not buying anything new. Likewise, when I'm talking about collectible markets, I'm referring to things old enough where supply and demand has been established organically. The molds for the Kenner Robin Dragster were destroyed in a factory fire in Thailand in 1993. This produced a genuinely limited supply. Releasing a paint variation of a toy at a convention and keeping the piece count low to make it seem more special is completely artificial. Underground vinyl toys, comic book cover variants, convention exclusives, and designer handbags may fetch huge prices in the future, or they may become the next Dutch tulip market. C9 and above condition copies of the first 50 issues of Spider-Man will never go down in price. They will go up. Everything is out in the open now. The days of giving a guy $10 for $100,000 worth of baseball cards at a garage sale are over. If you find something in your attic, any reasonably accurate description listing you give it on eBay will result in a sale that reflects what it's actually worth. People are educated and ready to pay top dollar for the truly rare stuff. Expect this to continue. As we become an increasingly software-based culture, and more of the practical components of our lives become stored on our smartphones, look for the collectible hardware portions of our past to become even more precious. Much of the hardware of our analog meat-space lives will become obsolete. But let's face it, that doesn't mean we won't want to buy it again on eBay and put it behind a glass case.